Welcome along to South Today's Sport. You may have heard, but Southland's #1 referee Keith Brown has decided to retire at the end of this first-class season. We're going to find out why and also reflect on this stellar career with the whistle. Good evening, Keith. Welcome along.
Thank you, Tom.
When we've had this conversation in the past, you've talked in terms of sort of World Cup to World Cup with the prospect of perhaps the next one, but things have changed?
Yes, I think the next one is obviously 2015, and I think that's really a bridge too far, just for any number of reasons. I think the time seems right for me to put this to bed and start on some other things.
Right, because your form is good at the moment. You'll be very happy with the season so far.
Yeah, look, I think probably because I've made that decision some time ago in my own mind that probably I really wanted to enjoy the last few months. So yeah, I've been enjoying my rugby, and I think that probably shows in performances, I think.
And perhaps the relaxed, not knowing you're being judged all the time, do you think? Because I think that adds a lot of pressure to the referee performance.
You're still being judged, of course, but probably doesn't mean quite as much, knowing that, you know, I'm not going to be refereeing Super Rugby next year. So, yeah, you're right, probably has sort of improved the attitude.
What does retirement mean? Define that for me. Is this no refereeing at all or just first class?
No, look, I'm retiring from first class refereeing. I'm really keen. The guys at the Rugby Southland referees have been tremendous support to me over the years, so I'm really keen to get into some club rugby. Right. Don't know whether that'll quite mean Premier Rugby, but maybe some school rugby and maybe some Division 1, Division 2 senior games is what I've got in mind, but I need to have those discussions. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. What about from the national scene? ITM Cup is the finish. You haven't got any test matches for the end of the year?
No, so the ITM Cup obviously comes to an end in the next, or by the end of this month, so that will be me. Okay,
how difficult a call was it? Because it was a major lifestyle change to take it up professionally. How many years ago now?
I've been doing it for 4 years on a full-time basis. So, I mean, it's been a challenge at times in terms of the getting the balance right between Sarah and the family, between Cruikshank Pride. So I can really, I'm just so appreciative of what Sarah's had to put up with in the last 4 years, and also what my partner, the support that they've shown me to really allow me to do this. It's been tremendous. So now I just simply go back to life at Cruikshank Pride, which with the break it's really refreshed me, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into that, spending more time at home with the family, and just for any number of reasons, it seems the right time. And probably the last one is the Super Rugby season used to finish in May. This year I was still travelling in August, so and I seem to be refereeing, I think, 3 times as many games in Australia this year as I was in New Zealand. Right. So that's a long way from Australia to Invercargill each weekend, and essentially doing that every second day, travel on one day, game the next, travel home the next.
Sounds glamorous lifestyle, doesn't it? But it's far from that after, I think, the first 12 months.
Look, I really don't want to sound negative because I've had such a fantastic time in the last 4 years, but as I say, the time's right, and I really don't want to end up all bitter and twisted. And I think that if I carry on in the next year or two, then ultimately the time would come where they don't want me anymore, and I'll probably be bitter and twisted about that. So they have offered me another contract for next year, but now was just the time to... As I say, the time was right, and I'm very happy and very comfortable with that decision.
Should we be concerned that the likes of yourself and some of the other perhaps top-end referees are coming to the end of their career? Is there enough referees coming by in the New Zealand professional scene to take the place? Because I see 2 or 3 are being perhaps pushed along.
Yes, yeah, I think so. Like when I started as a full-time referee, we'd just lost some significant referees really in terms of experience and ability, you know, the likes of Paddy O'Brien and Colin Hawke and Lyndon Bray, and the list goes on, Calvin Decker. So all that does is create an opportunity for some other guys, and is very cyclical, and there might be some teething problems, but I know that those guys underneath and coming through are very excited about the opportunities that are in front of them, and so they should be. So no, I think things are in good heart.
Do you think you'll have a role through the NZAU to perhaps feedback on some of those new guys ongoing?
I've had some discussion with my boss Rod Hill and Vinnie Munro, who's sort of moving into middle management, if you like, around that, or having some sort of involvement, and I'm certainly keen to be involved somehow on an informal basis. So if I can help, I'll be very happy to.
Let's tick off a few sort of hallmarks along the way. First class game, what do you remember about that?
It was actually before I got in the national squad in 2002, but it was in 1999 that I refereed my first class game, which was Southland Marlborough in Gore.
Right.
It was a score, I think it was 80-22.
Right. To Southland?
To Southland.
We'll just make sure of that. Yeah.
Notable for a first five by the name of David Hill playing for Marlborough, who had a fine game for Marlborough and was actually signed by Southland the next year on the basis of that performance.
Oh,
So
which
anyway,
you were part
that
of,
was the first game.
Right. What about, do you remember one game above all others, thinking that was the ultimate game of refereeing, or is it, they blend in after a while?
No, they do blend in. Probably one that I really remember back fondly on was in Napier. It was a Air New Zealand Cup quarter-final, Hawke's Bay Waikato, and most people expected Waikato to win and win comfortably, and Hawke's Bay won in the last minute. And probably the other with the last-minute try and sort of quite a spectacular try. So that's something that sticks in my mind. And also for the fact of what day it was. Earlier that morning at 8 o'clock that Sunday morning, New Zealand lost to France in the World Cup in 2007.
Might have overshadowed
so that's
your
why
refereeing performance that day.
It did, but yeah, that, for some reason that one sticks in my mind.
What about the game changes over that period? There's been tweaks to the laws. Is it harder to referee now because it does seem a faster game?
Certainly faster, and it seems to be getting faster all the time. Believe it or not, I think the tackle area has become simpler in our minds in terms of the processes that we've got. I think one of the things now is the scrum is becoming such an issue. I'm really heartened to see the crouch touch set call that's in at the moment. And
slight improvement, I would say.
Slight improvement in terms of the New Zealand, or I beg your pardon, the ITM Cup figures. I think the percentages last year were at 50.5%, a successful outcome on the first hit. We're now at 63 in this competition at the moment, so that's actually quite a significant improvement. So still work to be done, clearly, but my thinking is that if we can fix the scrum, then the rest of the game is in pretty good heart, and it's a pretty good entertainment package, really.
Couple of possible changes long term. I'm thinking imaginatively here. Do you see two referees being introduced to rugby union? Again, the speed of the game, it would help with sort of the forward passes close to the try and keeping up with the game. Do you see that sort of room?
I find like it lends itself quite well to rugby league in terms of quite a distinct roles that the referees have. One sort of looks after offside, one looks after the ruck. Rugby union, in my biased opinion, is probably a bit more complex than that. So I don't know how that would actually. So from two perspectives, I don't think it's a very good idea. One, I think it'll be quite difficult for the referees to work together because of the complex nature and the dynamic nature of the game. Secondly, from a personal point of view, I mean, why I love it, refereeing, is the challenge of it. And I think that if there were two referees out there, that would diminish the challenge somewhat and wouldn't make it so attractive for someone like me to fulfil the role. That's personal opinion.
My other one, which is my personal opinion, is more interaction with the TMO, more power to the TMO to prompt you, like the same way ARs prompt you if it's a scene, because of what's available to them. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what everyone wants, referees, players, spectators, is for the decision to be correct, for the outcomes, especially those important ones around scoring tries and scoring points. So I mean, it has to be wider, the TMO's powers. It all comes down really to the capability of the TMO. There's some people that I wouldn't want in the TMO box in my ear, sort of telling me about things.
Right.
So there's got to be some clear guidelines in place, but they've got to be wider than what they are at the moment. And the IRB are trialling wider TMO protocols and powers in South Africa and in the UK at the moment. So I think that you'll see in time for Super Rugby next year wider powers in place. So
all be delighted about that. All right, all the very best for the last couple of games. Which is your final game?
Just so all the viewers I'm refereeing a Otago Wellington this Saturday night under the roof and in Dunedin, and then Canterbury Bay of Plenty to finish on Sunday week, I think it is, in Christchurch.
Great game to finish with. Could be a crucial one in terms of the competition.
I'm looking forward to both of them.
Well done on a fantastic career. I know you'll still be involved with us talking about rugby, so it's not the end of it for us. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom.
That's the South Today tonight. See you tomorrow.